Howdy, howdy, everyone. In the last episode, we somniumed our brains out.
No more somnium, please. I want a nice, long, relaxing regimen of looking at 44 objects in boss's office.
We got to the end of the iris route and began the other split from her somnium. Now, we don't know which character it's going to be focusing on, as all of the primary characters have kind of already had their roots.
Either Pewter or Renju. That's what we're on, is either the Pewter route or the Renju route.
But isn't it sad? Iris dies at the end of her own route.
She's just gonna die constantly until we're done with the game. At least in her own route, Date was there at the end.
She had a degree of peace?
Not in a murderous kind of way. Like, she wasn't murdered in that route.
Right.
There's something to be said for that. I guess this is the second route where she has lived.
So far, don't count it.
No, it is the third. It's the third. She did live in the Oda and Mizuki routes, but she basically fades from them and isn't mentioned. She didn't regain consciousness, so whatever was going on with her brain was surely still happening there. She probably is just in an eternal vegetative coma at that point.
Speaking of eternal vegetative coma, You can't see this by making a funny face.
I have nothing else to say.
And I'm We Squared!
That was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Anyway, let's get to looking around the diner before we talk to Oda.
Hey, Date. I've got this video of a nurse rubbing oil all over an eggplant. Wanna watch?
Man, the last time we were here, it was a girl in a white shirt standing under a waterfall. And I thought, that's too classic and not weird enough for you, Ota. Fortunately, with a nurse rubbing oil all over an eggplant, that deficiency has been corrected.
Ota's always got your back.
Maybe later.
Maybe later!
I don't see a walk, do you?
We're safe this time. He's never gonna catch us off guard again. No, in all seriousness, like we said at the end of the last episode, I'm really impressed that he didn't run after Iris. This is actually Iris acting badly.
Yeah.
Her being willful about it and having some delusion, I can't even understand what's going on in her life. I'm not blaming her for that. It doesn't mean that it's good, but I'm not blaming her. But that was actually acting petulant. Like, we just had a scene in here in the last route where it was like, I love you more than 3,000 universes, and I'm your thrall, and stuff like that.
That's not healthy for her. The
one time someone doesn't just fling themselves at her feet, groveling and like drooling, promising to do everything she says, or making her very much the center of their world, whether for good or for ill, she gets pissy about it and storms off. I'm not gonna be all like, I hate Iris, she's so terrible now, or anything like that, but this was bad behavior and she doesn't deserve to have it rewarded.
Right. I know I just watched her storm off, but you know where Iris is?
There's a room back there she kinda made her own. She's probably there.
She's certainly made herself at home. Has Iris been back there before?
Yeah, Tessa's been here a few times.
While your mother has been here?
The first time we came here, we used X-ray vision and found that he had an idol figure.
Uh-huh.
Then the next time we see him, he's doing this complicated sock puppeting operation. But the fact of the matter is, it turns out he spends a lot of time with her. And is one of her close friends. Would you need to buy figures of your close friends? Well, you know what? Forget that. It seemed like he was a pathetic guy on the sideline, but he's not.
He's a really decent guy.
He's an ascended fan, is what he is. He's such a fan, he has wormed his way into her life by force of his will and stays there because he earns it. That's kind of impressive. Still a little pathetic, maybe, but...
Are you mad at me for making Iris upset?
Well, yeah. If you make her mad, you make me mad.
Well, I guess you'll have to be mad then.
Boy!
She had to hear the truth. The cold, hard truth.
Even if that's true, you could have worded it nicer.
But then it wouldn't be cold and hard.
You could have handled this better, Date.
He really could have, but no matter how he chose to do it, he could have handled it better.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think so as well.
Oh, don't you start ganging up on me!
You are as clumsy as ever.
You don't believe any of this, do ya?
Date, you don't believe Tessa, right?
Right.
You don't believe Nizet Laws exists?
No, I don't.
Then why was she almost kidnapped?
Yes! Let us talk about this.
I would love
No.
I would love to spend lots of time trying to figure out why she was almost kidnapped and coming up with something to do to help her and to save her. All of these things are great. However, just because armed gunmen have been hired to kidnap her does not mean that there is an AI on a galactic scale influencing the data stream in the world to make a bunch of Illuminati guys rich who then try to build a satellite to propagate the AI. You see how the two don't necessarily connect?
But it might have something to do with Renju.
Yeah.
He was looking for Iris.
In any case, we don't know who's behind it.
It had to have been Renju, because if it were so,
He would have sent his goons, or something.
at the very least, we never saw anybody like this until Renju is alive.
Yeah.
And 89 is running out on the loose. So-
Right.
But we know she's in danger. Which is why I came here.
Like, I'm not saying armed gunmen aren't after her. That has never been my position.
I need you to hide Iris.
What?
I need to go somewhere.
Okay, the problem with this... Oh, Oda will do anything, and he will do it to the best of his ability. Do you think Renju isn't going to look at Oda's first?
Yeah. No matter how skilled with the walk the poor guy may be, he's not going to be able to get the drop on a bunch of armed gunsmen.
Garmed Unsman?
That's what I said, and I'm not changing it.
To Hitomi's residence.
Yeah, I need to talk to her immediately.
That sounds like a wonderful idea. Oh, unfortunately, Date doesn't know that she was hanging out with So.
Darn it, you're right!
Hide Iris? I mean, I don't mind, but... why here?
The organization that I'm in may have a traitor. So I can't take her to HQ. That, of course, means that I can't take her to my house either. So I thought this diner would be a good place. Her enemies wouldn't look for her here. If she's here with you guys, I know that she's safe.
Yeah, get Mizuki over here. Hang out together. Pass some money over to make sure that everything's cool. And, you know, if you're earning money for your mom, that'd be good too, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody wins. It's just the problem is, I just feel like Renju would investigate this place in some capacity.
Yes, but you've already handled that because you said get Mizuki here.
Billy, Renju's her dad. Do you think he doesn't know?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not saying he's gonna storm the place or send goons to do it. I'm saying that as long as he knows where she is, he's not gonna lose track of her.
Wait, you guys?
Yeah, I'm expecting one more. Any minute now.
Yeah, exactly.
Mizuki?
Don't worry, I understand everything.
That's adorable. I wonder what his mother is going to think of him having a variety of younger girls over.
Oh, that Ota, he's such a scamp.
Kind of what I'm thinking, yeah.
I'll protect Iris.
Anyway, if they do manage to find her here, having Mizuki around should help, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't know anything about her super strength.
I know how strong she is.
Never mind!
Good luck, you two.
Shut down!
Thanks, Date.
She's taking this so seriously.
Thumbs up.
And that is precious.
Somehow, I think that's the most insulting thing you've ever said. I am deeply offended by you saying precious that way. You want to fight?
Let's go, man!
Date.
Oh, she's here.
I'm sorry for coming so late.
Is she alone?
I need to talk to you about Iris.
What is it?
I guess so.
Right? When the door opened, it was this ominous in the background.
I think you might be inserting a little more gravitas in the situation that actually existed.
And the door was not open very far. And it was like a weird angle, kind of from above.
The hell is wrong with you?
That was there!
I steeled myself and continued.
Iris said something to me that was very concerning. She said she's being targeted by an organization called Nizatlaws, and that she needs help. Does any of this sound familiar?
I decided not to tell her about the shooting at Golden Yokocho. Not yet.
Sounds like a good plan, not telling her mom about the shooting.
I didn't want her to worry. I'd bring it up if it was relevant. After a while, Hitomi spoke.
I didn't intend to hide it from you. I just never found the right time.
Huh?
She's sick.
Yeah, we know.
Iris has a malignant brain tumor.
Ah, so that's it.
Ugh.
A brain tumor?
It makes her say strange things sometimes.
I see. Her delirium could be a result of a brain tumor.
Okay.
It can also cause hallucinations and violent thoughts. It makes sense.
This can't be the only thing.
Right.
Because there's no way this game is about sad girl with brain tumor. Like, really, why are people after her? People are after her.
Yeah, it has to be more than just that. That didn't conjure those armed goons from nothing.
Everything Iris said was likely a result of her condition.
Iba summarized it so bluntly, so calmly, but I couldn't stay calm. The words malignant brain tumor circled my mind.
Perhaps so Sejima is funding her treatment.
Maybe. How long has she been sick for?
We found out in January. She suddenly collapsed at school. She went to the hospital and they examined her. They found a tumor. According to the doctor, surgery wouldn't help.
You mean?
Grade 4. Terminal. She has a year to live. At most. That's what the doctor told me. And if they were right, then she only has a few months left.
Because sometime real soon, I'm going to die.
Back in my gas station days, there was a regular customer at one of the stores that I worked at that had brain tumor. He was like 26 or 27, I think, and he was married and had 2 kids. Because of the brain tumor, he had epilepsy, so he couldn't work. It was weird. He just happened to say it one day and was like, so anyway, we don't really know how long I have. I could just fall over dead at any point. Probably only got a couple years. And he was just really matter of fact about it.
Well, I guess circumstances like that make you matter of fact. You either deal with it or you don't move on.
Well, at least he got to spend a lot of time with his wife and kids.
That's good.
I'm sure that he's passed.
Has Iris contacted you at all?
Yes. She said she was staying with a friend. She's with Mizuki. But it still bothers me. I'm so worried that I couldn't sleep.
About Iris's disease.
It's a brain tumor. It can cause a number of side effects. Nausea and dizziness.
Bequeath psychic powers for hypnotism. Extreme evil. Well, that's what happened on the other side!
Yeah.
Sometimes her hands and legs go numb.
Like, seriously? We cannot forget that her Somnium was a psychopath town. That's not utterly random or meaningless. No character commented on it. Boss and Pewter saw it, they didn't say a darn thing.
And it was also the room that the other sync machine was in. The prototype sync machine.
Sometimes she can't control her body temperature.
No, but I am kind of warm.
What? That was all caused by her brain tumor?
Does Iris know?
I didn't tell her the specifics, but I'm sure she knows.
Is there any way to save her life?
Ordinary treatments won't work, but there is one way
Uh-huh.
to save her life.
Which is?
Sync machine, etc.
Date, it's from Mizuki.
A strange, unorthodox treatment. And if it turns out that she has to be fed eyes, well, that's not going to work.
Why now? Sorry, could you excuse me?
I mean, this might be really important.
I stood up and went to the corner of the room to answer Mizuki's call.
Date,
See?
I'm sorry.
They really did storm the place.
What? What happened?
Iris, she's gone. She disappeared. I only took my eyes off her for a second.
Or she ran off on her own.
Oh,
possibly.
that, yeah.
What? Where did she go?
I don't know. That's why I'm calling. But she left a note on the table. Oh, just sent you a picture. Did you get it?
I have it now. Opening.
I'm going with the person I trust most. Oh, good.
Well, that's either Renju.
Or 89. Please don't worry about me, Iris.
Iris.
Because it's not her mom.
Right, she's right there.
I have tried calling Iris with a different line. I cannot connect. It is probable that she turned her phone off.
Damn. Mizuki, let's split up and find her. Let Ota know too.
Got it.
So, I don't mean to panic
Did something
you.
happen?
She was eavesdropping. No point hiding it. I told her that Iris was missing.
What?
He told me he went quiet. She didn't ask why she disappeared. I'm sure she thinks it's the tumor. She thinks that Iris's illness is making her go insane.
That may be...
Iris said that she was going with somebody. With the person she trusts most. Any idea who that might be?
No.
The thing is, the person in Falco's body is the Cyclops killer.
Yeah,
The person in Date's body is Falco, her uncle.
right.
And you know how he told me gets along really well with Date?
Uh-huh.
I will be so surprised if this is not the case. However, under normal circumstances, you see the body of the person you're looking for, of course you assume that's them.
Yeah, that's a normal thing.
Either that, or she really is saying that she trusts Renju the most, which is a fair thing for her to say.
Okay. I'm gonna go look for her.
I'll go too.
No, please, stay here. She might come home.
But
It's all right. I'll find her. Trust me.
Yeah, can't bring her along.
okay.
She'd really get in the way, unless we ran into So.
Well, vroom vroom. How's that?
Date, the person in Iris's letter. The one she trusts most. Who do you think that is?
Probably Uncle.
I see. The man Hitomi was dating 6 years ago.
He was a thoughtful, reliable man. I thought of him as a father.
But Iris said that she was looking for him. What are the odds she found him just now?
Pretty effing high when you know all the information!
I don't think that's possible.
Of course, they don't know that they're talking about Falco. Date didn't find out
Oh yeah!
until the end of the Iris route. But the thing is it's blatantly obvious to everybody else.
Well, then it must be Renju then.
I think so too. Remember what Iris said?
I look up to him. He's done so much for me. I know I can rely on him more than anyone else.
According to the mermaid at Sunfish Pocket,
She has a name.
I was just thinking that.
He was looking for Iris.
I think Renju called Iris.
And Iris went looking for him.
Exactly.
Then what can I do? We've been looking for Renju. Everyone at HQ is looking for him too. Not to mention he's on the run with number 89. And even with all of that, we haven't found him. We don't even have any leads.
Yeah, but how much of that is because of Pewter potentially messing with information?
Maybe none of it, but maybe.
If we only had some clues to work with.
Then we wouldn't be in this mess.
Keep in mind, Renju is kind of fabulously wealthy. Well, maybe not fabulously, but he owns several businesses. He's clearly a very wealthy man with a lot of different skills.
And connections.
And connections. If there is one thing that can be said about this guy, he is absurdly competent. And he knows all the principal people involved, so if he's wants to hide out and plan stuff, kind of hard to stop it.
Are you giving up? Iris might be with number 89 at this very moment. We need to find her immediately. Now think, Date. Where would Renju go?
To the dashboard.
Nah, nothing.
Huh, well, this is a good question.
It would seem obvious that going to his house would be the best bet because the other locations, other than the Sagan household, are public locations where other people would see him.
That could be very, very bad. It wouldn't be weird for him to show up at Lemnis Gate, except that Date is looking for him.
Yeah, everyone at Sunfish Pocket and Lemnis Gate knows that Date is looking for him.
And as for the Sagan household, I can't come up with a good reason why that's not the case, but his house does make more sense. Well, just because we were there...
Renju's house is currently occupied by officers from HQ.
Then it is the Sagan household, and we need to just turn right back around.
If he
Well,
went back there, we would have been contacted.
I guess I don't actually think it's likely that he would go there, but of those locations, that's the only place I couldn't come up with a reason why he wouldn't go.
Or this will lead us to the cold storage warehouse.
That would be the one, wouldn't it?
The cold storage warehouse. Maybe he's there.
Meow, meow.
Wasted no time.
Or we wasted all our time.
There is no one here.
Damn. He's not here?
Worth a shot.
Let's go, Iba.
Wait.
What's wrong? Is there someone here?
No living organisms detected.
I don't like how you said that.
Then...
No living organisms detected.
What?
You mean...
Let's search the area. We might be able to find something. On Sunday night, you saw Iris's body here?
Maybe?
Could have been a hallucination for all we know.
Yeah. Her dead body was right here on the workbench.
So basically we were kind of right in the beginning of the game, right?
In regards to...
Date and Falco.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that it makes so much sense for Date to constantly be going after Iris to try to help Iris is if he subconsciously
Has that emotional connection.
views her as his daughter,
Yeah.
that like already loves her very much, and it's a deep connection from some time ago. It's not that he remembers specifically,
Right.
it's that he has that emotional connection. Well, hence the bump.
Right.
That emotional connection is there and just drives him the whole time. I can't, otherwise nothing else makes sense.
Date, the forklift. Doesn't it seem off somehow? It hasn't been in use for some time, but something is peculiar about it.
I want to point out, though it hasn't been in a video, every time we have looked at this stinking forklift, Billy has been like, something is going to happen with this forklift. Something is going to happen with this forklift. Something finally happened with this forklift, and I'm really happy too!
Vindication.
No. This can't be.
I couldn't tell who it was.
It looked like Iris? Maybe?
Seriously, it is Iris? So they did kill her? Alright, well that changes a lot.
Iris.
Up until this point, I'd been trying to give Benji
Iris.
some of the benefit of the doubt, but after this... No freaking way.
Yeah, he's going down.
Yeah, no freaking way.
Day 5, Tuesday.
Jutite. Pewter 2.
Yeah. I am so sick of investigating this place.
Have you settled down? The scene is being inspected without you. This time the body didn't disappear. However, you lost consciousness. I didn't expect you to faint. Seeing that corpse must have been incredibly shocking. I did not predict you to be the fainting type.
Are you trying to cheer him up?
I suppose humans are unpredictable.
She's trying to fight with him a little bit.
I see.
Now that you're back, let's get back to business. You are conscious, are you not? Are you at a loss for words?
Poor Date.
Yeah.
Date, don't let negative thoughts consume you. Thinking that Iris died because of me. If I never took her to Ota's, this wouldn't have happened.
It would happen wherever.
If you truly believe that, then your brain is completely rotten. Or perhaps when you saw the corpse, your head became filled with images of blooming yellow dandelions.
Huh?
What?
Oh, you're talking now.
Ah, okay.
Was I correct?
She said something ridiculous to get his attention.
Well, the one type of perviness that he hasn't demonstrated is necrophilia.
And let us hope it stays that way.
What say?
If you consider the situation logically, even an elementary school student would understand.
Huh?
Fine. Allow me to pluck some of those dandelions from your mind. I will ask 3 questions. Please answer honestly. First question. The cold storage warehouse was not in regular operation.
That's a statement, not a question.
I'm sure she's leading up to it.
But even so, the AC was on, and a minus 58-degree temperature was maintained.
Wow, that's really cold.
Good lord!
Why is that?
Oh, I have to actually answer? Well, the correct answer is to preserve something.
To preserve something?
Yes. Let us move on to the next question.
I wanted to look at them and make a funny and tell you to get the ice cream.
No.
Okay.
Second question. There was something strange about the corpse. Do you remember what that was?
Well, the right eye missing.
I mean, frankly, the being hidden in the engine compartment is pretty weird.
So is it being completely frozen and being covered by a cloth, to be perfectly frank.
Well, it makes sense that it was completely frozen in minus 58 degrees. Being covered by a cloth is, I don't know. And missing its right eye is...
The correct answer.
Maybe not.
It was hidden in the engine compartment.
Well, maybe not.
The culprit was afraid that the body would be
No,
discovered, so they hid it under the hood.
Oh, no. I picked the one you wanted now, and you're giving me back.
I wanted to talk about it for 45 minutes before we actually decided on picking one, and don't you dare talk to me about back sass. That sounds gross.
But why there? The ocean is right here. If they really wanted to hide the body, they could have put weights on it and sunk it into the water.
But we do not know for certain that the culprit was attempting to dispose of the body.
But then why not just leave it out?
Yeah.
There is something more unusual.
Okay. It was missing its right eye.
That is a unique
Oh, no,
factor.
it's frozen.
You just said that it made sense that it was frozen at minus 58 degrees.
Well, yeah, I did, but then you think about that it was there for 10 minutes.
Ah, that's a fair point. Well, we're going through this one.
But there was something else. Something more peculiar.
Heck, at this point, it was covered by a cloth.
Now you!
What is unnatural about that?
Who cares about the modesty of your murder victim, and why did you need to strip them naked in the first place, you perv?
Isn't it strange? The culprit hid the body because they didn't want it to be found. But then they cover it with a cloth? That implies they thought that someone would eventually find it.
I explained earlier. The body may not have been hidden by the culprit. And even if they were responsible, it is not uncommon that murderers feel a sudden urge of remorse or pity for their victim.
So the cloth was a sign of pity?
That is a possibility.
Okay.
In all seriousness, that body can't have been frozen. Does that mean that it's not her body? The right eye is missing. Isn't that weird?
Huh.
Wasn't it the left eye that we did before from the iris ending?
Yeah, you have to remove the left eye, apparently, to use the sync prototype.
Yeah, so why was the right eye missing?
They must not have taken her to the sync machine.
How about this? We have a completely frozen body. Why on earth would this body be completely frozen after such a short amount of time and be missing the wrong eye? How many other times have we examined the engine compartment in that forklift? Billy?
All the time, really. Oh, wait.
No, we have never looked at that forklift except to look at it and say it was a forklift. That thing's been there the whole time. It's one of the victims of the original Cyclops killer.
Oh! And it just looks like Iris.
It's the only thing I can think of. Or at the very least, that is something that could explain the completely frozen. Like Iba just said, this warehouse isn't even in use. But it's been like that for how long? To preserve something, right? And at minus 58 in a place nobody's ever gonna see. Okay, next, whether we're right or we're wrong about whose personality is in what, okay, the way that we're thinking is the body of Date is the body of the original Cyclops killer. Do you think all his memories are gone?
Yeah.
Was he just remembering a victim? And wouldn't that make a bit more sense? When you sync with someone else, what do you carry? You don't carry your consciousness in there. When you sync with someone else, the syncer carries their memories!
Okay,
and
all right.
hidden in Mizuki's Somnium, Mizuki, someone who is utterly unrelated, was that body right there. Yeah, it looks like Iris, sure, but it was that frickin' body, all right? That body is something that he remembered, that he had buried. He brought the memory of that in there with him.
Okay.
And then he went to the place where it happened without Iba, and yeah, he did hallucinate it in there. It was a memory from his body, not from his mind.
All right. Oh, man.
Because that is this place where it happened, or at least where he put the body is probably the place where it happened. It can't all be wrong.
Iris's body was completely frozen. The temperature read negative 58. With Iris's weight... Just wondering, but how much do you weigh?
Don't you know it's rude to ask a lady that?
Don't you know how important that point is?
I see. 105, huh? It should have taken about 18 hours to freeze solid. But we were...
Wait a moment. Before you draw your conclusion, allow me to ask my final question. Question 3.
Yeah, the forensics aren't done after all.
2 days ago, Sunday night, you found a dead body in the cold storage warehouse.
What did it look like?
But afterward, you visited the Sagan household and discovered that Iris was in fact still alive. Why?
The corpse was a hallucination.
What I saw on Sunday must have been a hallucination. It was a dream.
No, Date.
Oh?
You're overthinking it. You saw the corpse.
I don't know why somebody would have drugged the thing out and put it on display and then hid it, but so was in there.
And who else was in there? Date. What if Date put it in there, unknowingly?
What?
If Date's the original Cyclops killer, then there's some traces of that left in him, such as recognizing the body.
He wasn't unconscious. We just caught So walking out of this place.
That's
Just
true.
like Iba said, don't overthink it, says Daymon.
But overthinking is my specialty.
But Iris was alive.
Yeah, so it's the you mean is the answer, C.
Which means...
Iris isn't dead. Iris being saved in Somnium is something of a red herring that's kind of like Har Har Hardy Har Zero Escape series.
You mean...
You mean?
You've got it.
I bolted into the warehouse like I was shot out of a gun.
Now, as for why it looks like Iris, I don't know.
I don't believe it.
Maybe they're cloning Iris and harvesting cells from her brain.
I don't believe it.
The stomach is swollen slightly. She appears to have been pregnant.
Oh, God.
How?
That's awful.
Do not worry. The uterus does not contain a fetus.
You mean after she was killed?
Excuse me?
No. The fetus was not present in her body when she was killed. She must have been killed after giving birth. The distended stomach does not immediately shrink after birth. The expanded uterus takes some time to return to its normal size. This evidence makes one thing perfectly obvious.
Ain't Iris.
This corpse isn't Iris. It's someone else.
Oh? A woman that looks like Iris, but was killed shortly after giving birth? Is Hitomi Iris's mother?
Iris doesn't have a father, remember? Why would somebody who clearly has such a good head on her shoulders... I mean, that was the part that seemed weird, but she never wanted to talk about it. That must be it. She must have just bumbled across it, or found her with Renju.
Yeah.
Which means...
Iris is still alive.
Not necessarily. She could be alive. We haven't confirmed that yet.
Schrodinger's Iris.
Iris's box?
We're not talking about Iris's box.
Multiple stab wounds with a single-edged, sharp object to the victim's back. Judging by the size and shape of the marks, the weapon was most likely a kitchen knife. This matches what you said on Sunday.
So this is the body I saw then.
So someone must have hit it after Date left then.
Oh! Well, yes, that must be the case, and that's kind of weird. Like, I'd mentioned that before, like, why would you go back in and put it up? Why did he really want Date to see him? Because so, etc., right? Who is the father? What if it is, in fact, Date?
I suppose that's possible.
Not this body. This body's too young.
Right. My brain! Maybe it could...
Hold on.
Yeah?
No, I don't think so, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
Oh, no, maybe this isn't actually out of nowhere. The Cyclops killer killed his first victim when he was how old?
12?
Yes, 12. Do you want me to pull that up? Do we need to go and get
No,
some
that
type
sounds
of proof
right.
that it's 12?
That sounds right.
How old is this body? Date's body?
30!
How old is Iris?
18.
If this is Iris's mother...
Wait, but that would mean that Date knocked her up when he was 12.
I don't know, just doing math.
Is there an estimated time of death?
And it's sort of like the body is remembering... Look, I may be going too far with all this, but it's just moving through all the details, right? This girl is obviously important to Date.
Yeah!
What if the reason she was in his memory is because the Cyclops killer's first victim? Now, as for why it's been sitting in this warehouse for so... Oh, no, so is Date's father.
Yeah,
But does that mean that so is Man, I'm being really... I am not being articulate. If so is Date's father, he's probably not Date's father.
What?
Is so Sejima the father... Date here. Some degree of someone else's mind in this body.
Yes.
Or even if it's not someone else's mind, it's someone else's memories and not the ones that he had before this.
Yes.
Okay? It's not quite the same person. Okay?
So you're trying to say is 89 So's son?
Something like one of them, maybe. He said, so said he was Date's father, but who did he mean?
I don't know, but I'm confused.
I don't know. I think all this is starting to get wiggity weird enough to like really work.
Impossible to determine.
If a third of any of that stuff is right, I'll be pretty dang happy.
This body has been completely frozen for at least 10 years.
10 years, huh?
At least 10 years.
10 years? She was killed more than 10 years ago?
Exactly. Her identity is unknown. Her killer is also unknown. But there is one likely suspect.
The Cyclops killer.
Yeah.
Who?
Let's consider the clues.
The right eye.
The scene. Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse. Sunday night, we saw So here. And there is something else about So Sejima. We witnessed someone similar to Iris being stabbed repeatedly in So's Somnium.
That's a good point. So does that mean that So was the Cyclops killer?
I'm not too confident that I would say that yet.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Iris. It was this woman.
That is highly likely.
What we saw was So's memory from more than 10 years ago.
But that doesn't mean that that was So.
Right.
I believe that is the case.
Renju and So?
But we still do not know where Renju is.
That's the question of the hour, it would seem.
That means that we need to talk to...
So Sejima.
And we're off! Mizuki and Ota kept searching for Iris. But unfortunately, they didn't turn up anything. Iris's whereabouts are still unknown. I'm worried about her, but without any leads, we'd just be looking for her blindly. I should focus on the investigation for now. It will eventually lead me to Iris, I'm sure of it. But first, I have to be stonewalled by So. With that in mind, I headed to So's mansion.
Stonewall Sejima.
I thought I told you. Never to show your face here again.
Well, what if I wear a mask? Would that help?
Sir, I am going to extend our time here together by investigating your topiaries.
Oh man, look at that topiary. Alright, buddy, I got some questions, and I will now ask them.
Logical?
I didn't come here for Shoko today. I didn't come here for Iris either. Instead, I'm here for a girl who looks like Iris.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Did you kill her?
Date, look.
I knew it. You killed her, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've had enough of your shit, Congressman! You wanted to check on the body of the girl you killed.
Even though he killed her, like, over a decade ago.
That's why you were at the cold storage warehouse 2 days ago.
More questions.
Where is Renju Okiura? You know where he is, don't you? You were at an Okiura fishery warehouse for a reason. There's definitely a connection between you two. And that's not all. Number 89 called your secretary.
Yeah.
That was kind of an important point.
The same number 89 that Renju escaped with. Now tell me, where is Renju?
Suddenly, a gang of bodyguards stormed out of the mansion. I don't know what I was expecting. In an instant, they surrounded me.
We'd like to ask you to please leave.
I can't force him to answer.
And can't get a warrant either, because as long as Pewter's at HQ...
He He can manipulate whatever needs to be manipulated.
Damn it, so!
There's nothing we can do. We did arrive without a warrant. We were technically trespassing. If he had called the police, we would be in a predicament.
Right.
We would have been detained immediately. Who would look after Iris then? Do you intend to leave your responsibility with Mizuki and Ota?
Ah!
Calm down, Date.
It must be frustrating being unable to do anything.
We still have our lead.
Lead?
Before I explain, we need to discuss the corpse in the cold storage warehouse. Let's give her a name. Because she is frozen solid, we could call her All Ice or Alice. What do you think?
I think that's a bit too on the nose.
Alice and Iris. I believe it fits nicely.
All right, Alice.
Really?
Arisu, Irisu.
What about her?
Someone might be able to identify her.
Who?
Clover. Quark.
Allow me to ask you 3 questions.
Oh, okay.
Again with this?
First question. You have seen this corpse more than twice.
Yeah.
3 times, in
Right.
fact. When was the first time?
Mizuki's Somnium. Oh no! I'm not gonna fall for this. Go to the flowchart. Okay, today is day 5, Tuesday.
Saturday.
Okay, 3 days ago. On Saturday.
Ah.
3 days ago. Saturday night when I synced at Abyss.
Yes. In the Somnium world, we saw the frozen corpse of a girl. Question 2. Who is the girl?
Alice?
Now I know. That girl was probably Alice.
Oh, okay, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I know. I too was like, what? But we've gotta.
Most likely, yes. So we have technically known Alice for 3 days.
Just like how it seems blatantly obvious to the player that Falco is number 89 and is the person that he told me was talking about and Iris's uncle, we do have to wait for the characters to put it together.
Right.
So this is the same thing.
One last thing.
Because if they don't bring it up,
The final question.
then they don't know.
They have to catch up to us in this case.
Right.
In which Somnium did we see Alice?
Adrian's?
What's an Adrian? What?
Adrian!
Rocky!
Adrian!
Rocky!
Rocky is a really good movie, though.
I appreciate that reference.
But seriously, I am talking about the corpse. Do you think you should be joking at a time like this?
Well, you know how it is. Sometimes you just gotta go take jokes comfortably.
Okay, anyway, nobody inside the game of the Somnium Files can ever criticize the amount of jokes.
Right?
It's a bit extreme.
It was in Mizuki's Somnium.
My roommate, Mizuki Okiura.
Exactly.
I don't know that I call it a roommate per se.
You mentioned something about Mizuki's Somnium being some kind of prophecy. But prophecies are nonsense. Dreams are not made of the future. They are made from the past.
And as we know, when you sink, the sinker's memories are what go into the brain.
Yes.
Therefore,
Mizuki has seen Alice before.
there is no other explanation.
Except for the one.
Iba, where's Mizuki now?
Except for the one we were talking about memories, but. Okay.
Where we went with Iris yesterday, the Kume Shrine.
The shrine? Why would she be there?
If there's just some connection with Mizuki somehow, then literally everything we said was wrong. But that, I mean, 2/3 of it, 3/4 of it, sure, but some of it had to be right.
Unknown. She is supposed to be looking for Iris.
Okay, let's go.
I guess I'm just desperately trying to connect the main character to the main story.
That makes sense, yeah.
Date,
Did you find Iris?
if I did, I would have told you already.
Right.
I am glad. that Date does actually get to spend a little bit of time with Mizuki, even if it's only like 10 minutes here. We should drag it out for her by looking at all the stuff. Do you suppose that we'll be able to lie about the Chozuya and, Mr. Bell, Mrs. Bell?
Let's find out.
Well, Mizuki got plenty of time already, I suppose. Wow, if there wasn't a single gag, then maybe the game is actually going to be serious for a little while.
Where's Ota?
I think he's searching Akihabara right now. Last time he checked in, he said he didn't have anything.
Where is Renju? Why am I asking you this question?
I'm just gonna start going up to people.
I think Iris is with Renju.
And just start saying, hey, do you know where Renju is?
With Daddy?
Yeah. Her note mentioned her most trusted person. That's probably Renju.
Yeah. I remember that mermaid girl saying something like that.
He was looking for Iris.
For goodness sake, doesn't she know her name? Mizuki slept in her bed.
Does that mean that Daddy is the one who called for Iris?
It could be. So I need to know where he is.
But I haven't been able to get a hold of him.
What are you doing here?
Iris used to like this shrine. She told me about all her memories here. We used to come here all the time. You know those steps in the front? We would sit there together and talk about things. Like what gluten-free means, and eyelash extensions, and aerial yoga.
Aerial yoga?
Well, Dalsim can levitate.
And we would talk about all our problems together. Sometimes we would talk late into the night. So I thought that maybe she'd be here. But it looks like I was wrong.
So about this dead body.
Yeah, this part's important.
Mizuki, I have something very important to ask you.
I told Mizuki about the frozen corpse we called Alice.
You've seen her before, haven't you?
Yeah, she was in this one game that I played where she spent most of the time kind of crazy, so she kind of missed out on character development.
No, I think you're talking about something else.
I'm sorry, you're right.
3 days ago, I saw her in your Somnium. The body of a girl who looks like Iris, Alice. Your dreams are built from your memories. So that corpse... Mizuki, please, answer me. Iris's life is at stake.
Huh? What do you mean?
How would she know? I mean, okay, even assuming everything we said was all horse-pucky, how would she know? She doesn't know what she saw in her dream.
That's fair. That's fair. I told Mizuki everything. About how Renju ran off with the assassin, number 89. How number 89 is connected to So Sejima. And that Sejima is linked to Alice's murder.
I need to know everything about Alice. If I find out who she is, I might be able to solve the mystery of Renju and number 89.
Not only that, if Alice has been there for 10 years, at least, Mizuki would have been 2. At what point did she go into that warehouse? She said she'd never been. And even if she had, why would she be digging around in the engine compartment of a forklift?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And that might lead me to Iris.
Mizuki looked down at her feet quietly. I could see agony in her face. The silence lingered. Finally, she steeled herself, lifted her head, and spoke.
Okay, I'll tell you about Alice.
Really?
All right.
It was about a month ago. I saw my daddy crying in the president's office at Lemniscape. I was peeking through a crack in the door so he didn't see me. Daddy got up, then got into his car and drove away. I had never seen him like that before. I was curious, so I followed him in a taxi. That led me to the cold storage warehouse. He got out of his car and went inside. I followed right behind him, quietly. Daddy was standing next to the forklift in the back. I hid behind a shelf. I watched Daddy open the hood of the forklift, and then, after a little bit, he left. I wanted to know what he was looking at. I went over to the forklift and I looked under the hood myself. And then...
You saw Alice's dead body.
Good God!
But at the time, I thought it was Iris.
How much death has this young girl been exposed to? Why didn't you call the police?
What was I supposed to do? Daddy would have been in trouble.
So you kept quiet this whole time?
Yeah.
If Date would have talked to her about the body he saw, she might have said something about it then.
Yeah.
But he never did, because he's just not really gotten a chance to see her in this side of the flowchart.
Did you talk to Renju about it?
What do you mean? I couldn't just ask. It would have changed everything. I thought that as long as I stayed quiet, everything would be okay. I didn't see a dead body. I wasn't even at the warehouse. I repeated that to myself over and over and tried to forget the whole thing.
Repressed memories are often the subject of somnia.
That's why Alice showed up during the sink.
Underneath everything, at the bottom.
Right.
What did you do after that?
The corpse looked exactly like Iris. I couldn't believe she was dead. I just couldn't. So I went to Iris's house.
Huh? What's wrong, Mizuki?
Iris was alive. I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah,
or dreaming.
Date definitely should have talked to her after seeing the body at the warehouse.
I tried to convince myself that it was just a hallucination.
What? Why are you looking at me like that? About Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse.
I actually met with one of the higher-ups at Daddy's company last night.
Yeah?
Before I went to Matsushita Diner.
Why?
Because you asked about the cold storage. I was curious. I asked around some, and...
And?
I found out that Daddy was managing the warehouse before I was born.
Oh.
After my grandpa died, Daddy took over.
Okay.
In exchange for managing the warehouse, he gave ownership of the company to someone else. I guess he didn't want to let this place go. Or maybe he couldn't let it go. That's more accurate, I think. But I understand why. Inside that warehouse was...
Alice.
This is getting ridiculous. Go on.
On paper, Daddy has nothing to do with Okiura Fishery. Daddy was still managing the warehouse. And he was the only one allowed in there, too. That was part of the agreement when he gave up the company. And the whole thing had to be a secret. He really stressed that point.
How long was he managing the warehouse?
This is important.
Hey, Mizuki. How long was he managing the warehouse?
Well, before she was born, so at least 12 years.
For 18 years.
There's that stinking number again. Do you remember when I said you don't suppose he's Iris's father, do you? Somebody is Iris's father somewhere. It is a character in this game. Or it is 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 characters in this game. I don't know if it's MoMA or what. Okay?
He's never been more proud.
That's what the man told me.
18 years? From that long ago?
Yes.
Iba, I need an emergency search. Missing persons from 18 years ago.
Understood.
Blah, blah, connection with Kumakura, Rohan, etc., etc. So, if nothing ever comes of Date and his god-dang memories, then I'm just going to assume that Renju is the main character of this game. Yeah, you never see him, but so...
Huh?
Date, I found her. The girl who looks like Iris.
What's her name?
Monica Iwai. 19 years old at the time of her disappearance.
That was Hitomi's friend, Monica. I remember because I was like, Monica, that's kind of an odd name. That was Hitomi's friend who died. I don't remember how she died, but she mentioned it a long frickin' time ago.
Well, I think we know how she died now.
A graduate of Etoku High School.
What?
Renju was my classmate at Eitoku High. We've known each other for 20 years now.
Yeah, and the number would have been more like 19, not 18.
When I was young,
but-
I lost someone very important to me. Monica Iwai, my best friend. One of the only friends I had.
Alice's Monica. Hitomi's friend who went to the same school as her and Renju. But why? Monica's body was found just now.
It would make sense that Hitomi would be raising the child of her friend.
Yeah.
Because there was no one else to do it. Renju was always helping her. If Renju is the father, maybe Hitomi didn't know that. If Renju isn't the father, she was still Renju's friend too.
Yeah.
So him helping out
Makes sense.
makes sense. Also, depending on what's true and what isn't, doesn't that mean that we have one father looking for Iris, and then two fathers looking for Iris, and then, like, a third father looking for Iris? Like, how many Iris fathers are there? And he told me it was like, Iris has no father, but it's like everybody is Iris's father. Well, you know, kind of Date in a way,
Yeah.
and Falco in a way, and Renju in a way, and So in a way. One of those is factual. But all of them in a way.
That's ridiculous.
Billy, it's a game with daddy issues.
Yes, I know.
Why do you do this?
I can't help it.
Billy, we're also playing Cold Steel 3.
Don't remind me.
Why do you do this? Why do you twist the world to fit your own past trauma?
I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise.
Knock it off! I want to play a game that ain't about daddies!
Me too!
But even back then, Hitomi knew. She knew that Monica was already dead. Aiba, where is Hitomi right now?
At headquarters for questioning. MPD still believes that the body they discovered was Iris.
Oh, okay.
Ah, this must be the Hitomi route. It's time to sync with her.
Got it. Contact boss. Have them bring Hitomi to Abyss.
Roger that.
So I'm starting to think of a legitimate way that Momo could be Iris's father.
Will you stop?
Why should I?
I'm the one with daddy issues here! Quit horning it on my turf!